This is Join Us in France, episode 364. Bonjour, I'm Annie Sargent, and Join Us in France is the podcast where we talk about France. Great places to visit in France, French culture, history, gastronomy, and news related to travel during the pandemic. Where has this year gone? It's already Thanksgiving. I can't believe it. Today, I bring you a conversation with Heidi Hunter about her month-long trip to France. They were on a bit of a budget, and you'll be surprised what they did to keep travel costs under control. Heidi and her husband still managed to visit Paris, Nice, Marseille, Annecy, Lyon, and Strasbourg. This was a wonderful overview of France. Are you planning your own trip to France? Listen up and be inspired. The French expression of the week is going to be un nom à coucher dehors. Un nom à coucher dehors. It's really hard to translate into English, but I'll tell you more about that after my chat with Heidi. I'll also update you on the COVID situation in France, how to get your health pass for your visit, and I'll share the itinerary that I decided on for the 4 days I spent in Paris with my husband, sister, and her boyfriend. We saw a lot in a short time. If you like what we do here at Join Us in France, consider supporting us by going to joinusinfrance.com/boutique to check out my cookbook, Join Us at the Table, my Paris tours on the Voice Map app. And by the way, podcast listeners get a discount if they buy from the boutique instead of buying directly from the app. And the itinerary service is turned off until December 26, so it will be back for those of you traveling next year. And I don't mention this very often, but I also have an affiliate relationship with Amazon. It's called Annie's Faves. If you go to the boutique, joinusinfrance.com/boutique, and you scroll down, it says Annie's Faves. If you click on Browse All, and then you make your purchases on Amazon as always. And of course, I mentioned it now because of Black Friday, you know. But if you make your purchases on Amazon, you don't have to buy what I recommend. You can buy anything at all, and the show gets a bit of a kickback. And generally speaking, this is enough to pay for the hosting for the show, which is not free, obviously. And so thank you very much for remembering to do that year round, but especially at Thanksgiving and with Black Friday. Follow Addicted to France on Instagram to see Heidi's lovely photos of France. I'll post them this week. And the best way to stay in touch with me and with the podcast is to sign up for the newsletter at joinusinfrance.com/newsletter, where I send important updates about travel to France as well. I sent one last week. Bonjour, Heidi Hunter, and welcome to Join Us in France.
Bonjour, Annie. Thank you for having me.
It is so nice to talk to you. So, we're going to be talking about your trip to France. You spent a whole month in France on a budget. And I'm dying to know what you were able to do to stay on the budget, and maybe give us an idea as we go of, you know, how much you spent for stuff. Because, you know, it's always amusing to me when people ask me for a decent hotel for $500 a night. Well, I'm like, well, for $500 a night, you can get a decent hotel anywhere in France.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
It's another matter of finding a decent hotel for, in Paris anyway, for 100 or 150 a night. It's a lot more difficult. So I can't wait to hear about how you did this. Now, tell us about your group. How many of you were there, and the dates of your trip?
Okay, it was just me and my husband. We arrived August 24th and flew back September 24th.
Oh, so it's exactly a month.
Yeah. We started in Paris, then kind of worked our way through, went to Nice, Marseille, Annecy, Strasbourg. And we chose to stay with hostels a lot of times. I don't know, hostels and pensions, I just like them a lot. And that also, we saved a lot of money doing it that way. In Paris, we kind of splurged, stayed in a hotel more just because we wanted to be in the action and walking distance of everything.
Right.
So.
Yeah, in Paris, there aren't a lot of hostels. There's some, but not too many. So define what you mean by hostels and what are they like in France, or pensions?
The hostels, sometimes you have to share a bathroom. This trip, we didn't have to share a bathroom. We had our own room and our own bathroom. But you share, everything is a lot smaller as far as a bedroom. So you have like your own little space for bedroom. You share like a little kitchen. You don't have to like make your own food if you don't want to. It depends on what you want to do. But there is that option if you want to make your own food and like a shared kitchen that you're sharing it with other travelers. So, yeah. And we meet a lot of people that way.
Sure, of course. And the price ranges that you've been able to find?
We usually try to stick to, like, in Nice, the hostel was like €100 a night. Maybe it was like 95. It was somewhere in there. It's about the location for us.
Right.
We don't mind spending a little more for the location. It's just being in a safe area, and as long as it's clean, you know?
Right. Now, I've stayed in a couple of hostels, not that often, but I've done that. And you know what? Sometimes you're pleasantly surprised.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, in Paris, it can be a little bit more difficult to find hostels, but there's one that I can heartily recommend that I've stayed at. It's called Hôtel Marignan. It's on Rue du Sommerard. It's really close to to Notre Dame, and it's one of these. They call themselves a hotel, but most of the rooms you don't have your private bathroom. Some of them you do. There's no elevator. There is a shared kitchen and a shared laundry room, so it makes it really nice. And honestly, this location cannot be beat because it's really quiet. You're very close to Notre Dame. You're in the Latin Quarter. It's excellent. And you can choose, a few of the rooms do have their own bathroom, so long as you don't mind hoofing it upstairs, a few flights of stairs.
Yeah, that is a really nice area. That's kind of the area we were at. We liked where we were, close to everything.
Yep. And I'm assuming that you listed the places where you stayed, so I can recommend them to other people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in my notes, I kind of broke it down, each place. Yeah.
Excellent.
Some other things I did also to kind of save money is, like, we didn't have like a strict itinerary, but we kind of had a game plan for each day. Eating a good breakfast in the morning, try to find places that have a breakfast included.
Yeah.
Because then that's one less thing you got to worry about. You can fill up good. Yeah. Maybe have a snack for the afternoon. And then we tried to just eat out like once a day. And we'd have a nice meal. And then we'd shop like at the local grocery stores and markets for like our snacks. And if we wanted to, it was really nice in Annecy once. We had like our own like little kitchen for ourselves, like it was like a little studio apartment. So we were able to just like shop like a local, kind of make our own breakfast. And it was really nice.
And when you're there for a month, that matters because, eating out all the time for a month is too much. Like I wouldn't like that.
Yeah. So, and then like eating out, then we'd kind of do like a splurge meal, kind of like not like over the top, but then you kind of feel guilty if you eat out every meal, like you feel like a blob. So, I mean, we walked so much, so that didn't happen, but eating out once a day is enough. That's one of the things I saw is that in Paris, you walked everywhere, like literally everywhere. Oh, yeah. Everywhere. The weather was so great. Like, I mean, we were prepared to use the metro. Like, I was fine with using that, but we didn't need it. We walk everywhere. It was amazing. And the fact that we did walk every place, we saw so much more too. We really lucked out with the weather.
So you must have walked like 10 kilometers each day or something, or whatever.
Oh, even
how
more
many
than
miles?
That. Yeah, it was probably 10, 15.
Kilometers or miles?
That was miles.
Oh,
our Fitbit, we had our Fitbits on, and we'd kind of keep an eye on it. And yeah, so.
The Fitbit probably just got one hand, clapping for you.
Yes, yeah. But then, when at the end of the day, when we wanted to pick up a bottle of wine and sit in the park, or if we wanted to sit in a cafe and have a drink, it just made it, we slept really good. It just all that fresh air.
Yeah. Walking 15 miles plus a bottle of wine, you are going to sleep well, sweetheart.
Yes. Yeah. But, we tried so many different foods too. So walking all that, a lot of rich food. So then the fact that we're walking, you feel better about it. So,
so do you speak French?
No, very, very little. I tried to pick up some like phrases, but when I would start to say like bonjour to somebody, they would pretty much speak to me in English. Like, I think a lot of people thought we were from Australia, which was interesting, but that was fine with me. That was perfectly fine with me. I was, Eric, my husband, was relieved because we were kind of intimidated a little bit with coming to France, or going to France, but because of the language barrier. But
I see.
I was just like, it can't, it's open. We're going. We'll figure it out. So, and we did, and it was great. Everybody was wonderful. They were so nice to us, and I think they were just really happy to see Americans. So we were happy to be there.
Right, because we were, awesome. I mean, Americans had not been allowed back in for a very long time, for just a few weeks. So that was a good time. And I'm assuming that most places were not packed.
No, it was like, I can't imagine. I mean, if there was enough people there, I can't imagine at peak with everybody there, like at the Eiffel Tower, and we had like room to move around a lot. And I can't imagine. It was really nice, like not having a lot of people there. I can't imagine having a ton of people.
Yeah, I have to congratulate you, because you stayed a whole month, and most people don't do that, and you really get to know a place when you stay that long. So that's wonderful.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was wonderful. Our original trip was supposed to take place in 2020. We were going to fly into Paris and then go to Belgium, Germany, and Austria. But with the pandemic, we were just kind of, we scratched that idea, and our flight was to fly into Paris and fly out of Munich. So we kept it as is, and then we just explored France, because neither one of us had been to France. So we're just like, France it is. And it was awesome.
Yeah, you went to a lot of places, because you listed a few, but there's more we didn't list. You went to the Mont-Saint-Michel, you went to Eze, you went to Annecy, Lyon, Colmar, Strasbourg. I mean, you went a lot of places. How did you get around?
We used the train system. So we bought a majority of our tickets before we left the U.S. And then with Eze and Eze, and there was one other day trip. Oh, Colmar. Those we just bought while we were in France.
Right.
But yeah, so we kind of had a game plan of, we had like all of our tickets bought, so we didn't have to mess around with that.
Right. So, because to get to Eze from Nice, that's a local regional train, and so I guess you could buy it in advance, but why? Because there's like 15 trains a day. There's no need, And it's the same with Colmar. It's a regional train from Strasbourg.
Right, and it was so easy. We just used one of those little self stations where it's all in English. You can pick what language you want and you buy your tickets.
Right,
so
the vending machines, really good. The ticket machines.
Yeah.
And how did you get to the Mont-Saint-Michel? Because the train doesn't go all the way to the Mont-Saint-Michel.
We took a tour. I have the tour written in my notes. Yeah, the tour was it was great, because we don't usually do a lot of tours. So this worked out really good, because the bus she explained everything while we were on the bus and gave us the whole history of it, and then just pretty much cut us loose. So that was pretty nice that we could kind of do it on our own. And but it is a good 4-hour drive, so we got about 5 hours of free time there, just to kind of explore by ourselves. And then it was beautiful. We lucked out, sounds like, with the good weather. It was blue skies.
Well, that's good, because that doesn't happen a lot at the Mont-Saint-Michel, even in August, No.
Yeah. It sounds like the weather changes like every 15 minutes.
So one thing that you did, and I'm surprised that you did, but I'm very happy, is that you took a taxi to your hotel, to your first hotel when you arrived.
Yes.
Yeah, that was probably a good plan.
Well, yeah, and I've listened to a couple of your different podcasts, and you always say take the taxi. We took the taxi just because after flying from Chicago, that's a long flight, We were ready to just get in the hotel. I didn't want to mess around, and it was smooth. Everything was good. They had a fixed rate from the airport to the hotel. I believe it was like €56 to the left bank. So it worked out good. So thank you.
And also, it's when you just arrived fresh off the plane, you're jet lagged, you're tired, you don't speak the language, you are prime target for a thief. So you might stay away from public transportation for a few hours until you've had a good night's sleep and you have your wits about you.
Definitely.
Because those people have a target on their forehead.
Right. And we felt so safe, like in France in general, like Paris. I've heard like all the pickpocket stories and stuff. So, just be wise.
You were careful.
But I didn't feel at all. It was very safe. I felt there was some police presence, and I felt very safe.
Yeah, there's always police. In France, in cities, there's always some police.
Yeah.
So that's pretty important. Yeah. Okay, so in Paris, you did the normal stuff. You went to the Luxembourg Gardens, which is free and lovely. So that's...
Oh, I loved it there, yes.
Yeah?
That was like my first impression of Paris. Like, we went there. That was the first thing we did. We went and grabbed some lunch and ate it at Luxembourg Gardens. As soon as we landed and checked in our hotel, we were out. And that was our first place because it was so close to our hotel.
Right. And then you went to the Samaritaine. That's not for the budget trip.
No, that's just window shopping. We went to just see because they just renovated it, and it looked really pretty.
Yeah. And then you went to the Eiffel Tower as well. You didn't do all these things necessarily in that order, okay?
No. Not like all one day, no.
Right. So the Eiffel Tower, and you went up, right? You took, or did
we
you
went
go
up?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's worth it. The first time you go to Paris, do that,
I think that's kind of it's a touristy thing, but it's very that's iconic. That's when people think of France, that's what they think of. And it was it's very charming. It has I don't know, I love watching it twinkle at night. That is very, it's just, France at night is gorgeous. Or Paris at night. Is gorgeous, I should say more.
That's great. You went to the Trocadero Gardens for photos. You did all the normal stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
You also went to the Marais, to Saint-Germain-des-Prés. You walked and walked and walked and walked, you say.
Yep.
You went to the Louvre, which is awesome.
Yeah. We got lost in there. But that was all right. That was fun. It was a good place to get lost.
Yeah, the Tuileries, the Jardin des Plantes. The Jardin des Plantes, that's very nice in the summer, yes.
Yeah, the roses. We were kind of at the tail end of it, of the season, but it's still, I bet you it's beautiful, in June.
Yeah. Did you go to any of the buildings at the Jardin des Plantes, or just outside?
No, we didn't go into the greenhouse. We thought about it, but we just kind of strolled through and... Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You went to the catacombs. You went to the Sacré-Cœur for the views, of course. That's very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you visited Jim Morrison's grave at Père-Lachaise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of activities
beautiful.
there. Yeah, there's a lot of activities there that are free. I mean, Jardin des Plantes is free.
Mm-hmm.
The catacombs are not. But going inside the church, Sacré-Cœur is... Père-Lachaise is free. You know, there's a bunch of things. And walking around, obviously, is free. Thank goodness.
Oh, yeah. And a couple of things I forgot to write in. We did go to Shakespeare and Company, the bookstore. That was really neat inside. Uh-huh. And then we stumbled across the Flame, Princess Diana. Yes. And then I wanted to go to like an old cafe that I forgot to write these things down. It was Les Deux Magots.
Les Deux Magots, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And that was really nice. It's kind of, an older cafe. Yeah. It was really nice.
It's been there a long time. It's very popular. It's kind of expensive. So
yeah, it is. Yeah. But most of those places kind of are. They're, because they've been there forever. But it was like a place that I think that I read that Hemingway used to hang out there. Or, I don't know, a lot of writers used to hang out there. Yes. So,
yeah. Okay, so then you took the train to Nice. So give me your impression about taking trains in France.
Oh, the trains in France are awesome. Across Europe, they're just awesome. They're easy to use, and it's very if you can read like your destination and the number, it's pretty.
Your ticket
it's
number.
Very easy.
Yeah, your platform. Like you need to find the train number. You need to look for the right train number. Otherwise, because some places there's a lot of trains going, especially at the big train stations in Paris. Mm-hmm. To go to Nice, you probably started from Gare de Lyon.
Yes. Yep.
And it's a big train station, and there are several TGVs an hour that goes in that go in that direction. You need to go to the right platform. You need to look for the train number. It's on your ticket, and it's also on the displays. That's how you know where you're going.
Yeah. The trains are they're all nice and clean, and you just.
So did you mostly do Ouigo or Inouï? The expensive ones or the cheaper ones?
We did our tickets that we bought. We did first class, so we could have a seat assigned to us. Uh-huh. So
you were not on a budget the whole time. You were on a budget for hotels mostly, right? Yeah,
hotels and eating out, that kind of stuff. But when it came to our transportation, we splurged. Like, it's nice to have a seat assignment, so you have a good seat. And
I think you can
buying it in advance, so that helped.
Yep. Yes, and those and just traveling by train is so peaceful, and you just watch the scenery go by. It's very pleasant.
Yeah, it is. It's very nice. It just takes the worry out of traveling as long as you're on the right train.
Yes. Yes, you have to really make sure for that you're on the right train. Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
What did you think of Nice?
Oh, I loved Nice. Nice was really pretty. It was warm, like towards the end of August, beginning of September. The beaches are beautiful. They're not that sandy that people think of with beaches.
Big old rocks.
But they're like big rocks, not like boulders, but yeah. It's hard to get in and out of the water. It's best if you have like water shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Nice. It was very charming. Our day trip to Eze was amazing. We listened to your podcast on Eze, and then I had that in like kind of like my notes of places to go when we were in Nice. And then we heard some of our travel friends that we met at the hostel, and they were telling us about Eze. I'm like, oh, we got to go to Eze. So we did that the next day. And it was warm. I'm glad we started early, and we brought plenty of water. So
you hiked to the top of Eze? I mean, like not from the train. Did you hike all the way from the train?
Yeah, from the train station. Yeah, we walked from the train all the way up.
You guys are walkers.
Yeah, and it was beautiful up there. That garden up there is amazing.
Yeah.
So we ate at, I believe, I have it written down. We ate at a restaurant. I think it was called the Cactus Cafe up there. And, it was so good. It was like these really nice salads that they put on a cork plate. And when it's so hot, there's nothing like a nice salad, after hiking all morning. So, yeah, I definitely recommend Eze as a day trip from Nice. That was really nice.
That's good, because in Eze I can never find a restaurant that's not too expensive and still good. So it's good to know about this Cactus Cafe. That's great.
Yeah, it was like one of the first ones we ran into when we got up there. So you know how it's on an incline, so they have these tables that are made that go with that incline. So it's really cute. A really cute little cafe.
Nice.
So
nice. Now, for those of us who don't want to hike all the way up, you can also take a bus from the train station up to the village. I'm not sure what the details are, but there is a bus. So
okay,
I took the bus down, so I know it also goes up.
Yeah. I think walking down was a little harder than going up. To be honest with you. Yeah. Like my calves were a little sore.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me about Marseille.
Oh, Marseille was awesome. That was another, everything's awesome. So, but yeah, Marseille was totally different than Nice or Paris. It was very different. Like my first impression was just a total different vibe. I felt more like, it was kind of almost like I was more in like Portugal, kind of. But it was beautiful. Yeah, the old port, the fishing port, we spent a lot of time down there.
Yeah.
And we went to Chateau d'If.
So you took a boat to Chateau d'If, yeah?
Yeah, while we were out there. And then we also went to the cliffs.
Les Calanques?
Yes, I was going to try to pronounce them, but I know it wouldn't come out as good. Yeah, the cliffs that was another day that we did that. We spent 4 nights there, and definitely 4 nights was a good amount for us there. We bought all of our tickets for our ferries right at the old fishing port. So yeah, it was very neat. That Chateau d'If, if you're a fan of the Count of Monte Cristo. Yeah. That's kind of where the book kind of unfolds there.
Yes. The story is that he needed to escape to find his beloved, and
yes,
a lot of things happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Marseille is a nice place. 4 days is kind of a long time. Did you ever run out of things to do?
No. We kind of, like, one day we did the cliffs. The other day we went to the Chateau d'If, and then we had went swimming because it was really hot. Mm-hmm. No, we didn't run out of things to do. It was a good amount of time for us. I really felt like if I would have had less time, I think I would have been a little more rushed.
Right.
I feel like it was just really relaxed. We didn't have to rush.
That's
and when
good.
It's hot like that, it's kind of nice to...
Yeah, be able to hide in the shade while the hottest part of the day is on.
Yeah. And there's soap there. I bought some really nice soap.
Yeah. I
wanted to go to that soap... there was a museum, but it's closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. I figured it would be closed on Monday, but not on Tuesday. But so I was kind of bummed about that, but I still bought a lot of soap. And it's really nice soap.
Yeah, it's really good. And it's, I don't know how fast you go through a bar of soap, but at our house, a bar of soap is probably a month for... Yeah. My husband doesn't always use the bar of soap, but for 2 of us for sure. And
do you have the big squares?
Yeah, I have the big squares. Yeah. And that lasts a whole month, and it costs what, €2? I mean, it's great. Yeah. And it smells good and feels good. It's great.
It's very nice. And then the church up at Marseille is very It's beautiful.
Yeah.
The cathedral.
The one perched up.
So, for watching sunsets and very nice.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, then Annecy was next, or did you stop somewhere else?
Yeah, Annecy. Yeah, Annecy was next. That's where we had our little studio apartment, and we rented bikes when we were in Annecy. I tried one of the e-bikes. Yeah. Oh, I love them. I love those e-bikes.
Me too.
Oh, they're so nice. We did that whole lake. We kind of started early in the morning. As soon as the bike shop opened, we got our bikes and dropped them off like right before they closed. So we ran across a couple markets while we were biking, and because there's a lot of little villages around Lake Annecy.
Yeah.
So it was a full day, and it was, I loved Annecy. I love the mountains, the water, that color of that water. It's like tropical almost. So yeah, definitely that would be where I would live if I lived in France.
Is that right? You pick Annecy?
Yeah, I loved it. Oh,
that's
the mountains.
Great. That's great. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. Yeah, people often ask, between Annecy and Chamonix, which one should I do? And I think if you only have time for one, Annecy is probably it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
It is. With the flowers and, the flowers, I don't know. Everything was so bright that the couple days we were there, I just felt like, it was like right out of a book.
Right. And doing it with a bike, e-bike or regular bike, is really clever because, you can cover a lot of ground and see a lot more and not be, because when you're walking, I mean, there's only, even if you're fast walkers, there's only so much you can do in a day. Right.
And I think the walking trails aren't very good around that lake. I think the bike trails, it's definitely a bike area. Because there were a lot of people walking in the bike areas, and you could tell they weren't enjoying their walk as much because they had a bunch of bikes passing them all the time. So, and they had to be kind of on the, defense of the bikes. So,
right.
Yeah.
And was it difficult renting a bike?
No, not at all.
Did you arrange that from home, or did you do that last minute?
We did that last minute. Yep. Just Googled bikes in Annecy and just kind of went with the one that had the best rating, and that was close.
Yeah, so you want not too far and decent rating, and because I mean, a bike shop is a bike shop,
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
If they're really awful, they're not going to stay in business very long. So hopefully.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Makes me want to buy one now. One of those bikes. I love them.
Yeah. I was just riding mine today. As a matter of fact, I went to the pharmacy.
Oh, did you?
And I don't do long things with it. I just go to the pharmacy, to the grocery store, usually it's between 5 and 10 kilometers. But it's a little bit every day, and it's really helpful. It's really good. Most weeks, I don't take my car for a whole week.
Yeah,
I only take my car if I'm going to do some big shopping, for lots of stuff. But yeah. So, and I'm lucky. I mean, I live somewhere where it doesn't get very cold, so it's easy to do that year round, pretty much.
Yeah, that's good. Get that fresh air.
Yeah, probably you couldn't do that in Annecy, though, because it snows up there. And I'm a wimp.
Yeah.
But you're from Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
So
and it gets cold. Yeah. Very cold.
You know all about the snow and the cold.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you do.
All too well.
All right. And next you went to Lyon?
Yes. Yep. We were there for 3 nights, and we stayed at another hostel. It was a way hostel and coffee shop. That was very nice. Yeah. We liked the old Renaissance quarters in Lyon. Mm-hmm. The passageways were really neat too. How do you pronounce that? Traboules?
Les traboules.
The passageways?
Yes. Les traboules.
Yeah. And then we went to the Roman, amphitheater, the ruins. Yeah. That was really neat. The cinema, the museum cinema and miniatures that's in the old town. That was neat. If you like movies, and we like movies, it was really neat. They had from like Gremlins, like the original, just really, if you like kind of, that kind of stuff. And then there were these little miniature scenes that an artist did that are really detailed. They're really neat. That was probably my favorite part of that museum. That was really neat.
Cool.
Yeah. And then we did a little shopping in Lyon, and I mean, pretty much all of the murals that we ran across were really neat too. They have a lot of really neat murals.
So outside, on facades are painted with cool murals. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. And you went to the park La Tête d'Or. Yeah, the big park. No, the big park. The big open air.
Yes,
yeah, open park.
Yep. Yeah, it was beautiful.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lyon, you liked it, but not as much as Annecy.
Yeah, I liked Lyon. Yeah, Lyon was beautiful. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, and next you went to Strasbourg and Colmar. I want to hear about that.
Yes. Yeah, Strasbourg was beautiful. The cathedral, the Notre Dame Cathedral in Strasbourg, it looks like the cathedral in Cologne, Germany.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
No.
That cathedral looks like so much like it. It was the Gothic look. It's beautiful.
Oh, and it might be
inside.
Some of the same craftsmen that worked on both.
Yeah. Yep. And it has a really neat clock on the inside.
Yes.
It has like it kind of shows like the different. I think it like shows the seasons and
a ton of things. It's got stars, seasons, the position of the planets, all sorts of things. It's really worth being there when it goes off, which is I think it's at noon, but off the top of my head, I would have to check that, double check that.
Yeah, at noon. Okay. I think it was at noon, and then on the hour it does like a little.
Right, there's a small display on the hour, but then the full thing comes on alive at noon. Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, it was really neat. One thing that we ran across in Strasbourg that was really funny, there's a rooster that sounds off at noon every day. I don't remember what street it was on.
Okay.
But the rooster sounds off, and then there's a hen across the street that like answers back and drops these like golden eggs in its nest. It was funny.
That's lovely.
We ran across that, and we're like, we got to find the rooster, we got to, and we found it. We probably walked by it like 3 different times, but if you're not looking up, and looking for it.
It's so easy to miss stuff like that. I'll try and find the address and put it on the show notes.
Yeah.
So that sounds good.
Yeah, it was funny.
Because I don't think I've seen that. I mean, I've been to Strasbourg and I've seen the cathedral, but not the hen and the rooster.
Yeah. And then we took a day trip one day when we were in Strasbourg to Colmar, and that was the ticket that we just randomly picked up. Buildings, all that timber, definitely was really bright that day with the flowers too. It was amazing. It was beautiful. Totally different architecture. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we liked that.
Colmar
Strasbourg was beautiful.
Yeah, Strasbourg is beautiful, but Colmar is like picture perfect.
It is. It's like a storybook.
Yeah.
And we tried a lot of the food there throughout all of our trips. We tried to do like food from that region, So, but it was amazing trip there.
So beautiful. You had a great month in France, and you're going to have a lifetime of memories from this.
Yes.
That's great. That's great.
And some other ways that I did, like we saved like some money. Like we just had our backpacks. So if you're a shopper, you just have your backpack, so you don't have much room for extra things to buy to bring home. Mm-hmm. So that helps. Mm-hmm. But I still like had enough room to like, cram some stuff in there.
Yeah, a few things anyway.
Yeah. And then just having, if you're at the end of the night, instead of always we went to cafes enough too, but it's a different look on things is by like buying a bottle of wine and having it in a park or by the water somewhere. Mm-hmm. It's a different, so yeah, it was
fun.
Amazing.
So what are some things that stand out that you would be very happy to do over again?
All the French gardens that we went to were amazing. Like Luxembourg, I know I said it before, but the Luxembourg Gardens in Paris, that really stands out for me. I just really liked, it is beautiful for one, the flowers, the purple and the oranges, but it was nice seeing just like, travelers walking by, families interacting with their kids, with their little sailboats, just kind of, it felt like that's real. Like this is how life is in Paris, so I really liked the gardens and the cafes. Like we love the fresh squeezed orange juice. You just can't find it like that here in the States.
Is that right?
Yeah. And just like sitting in the cafes and just watching, people going to work and kids were starting to go to school and just watching, travelers, the different bikes, watching fashion in the cafes. Just it's amazing. And we loved the food. We tried I'm not too adventurous when it comes to, different types of meats and stuff like that.
Okay.
But I did try escargot and I loved it. I ordered it again. My husband tried is it the tartare? It's the raw
beef.
It comes with with the seeds and stuff in it. And I did try that.
Yeah.
I didn't order it, but I tried it. So
what did
I
you
was
think?
proud of myself. I didn't think it was bad. It's nothing that I would order, I don't think. Mm-hmm. But
did he like it?
I'm glad I tried it. It was okay. Yeah, he liked it. Yeah. He said that he didn't think he would order it again.
Right.
But he's glad that he did try it.
I'm surprised he tried it at all because that's a very French thing. I mean, that's like...
Yeah. Yep. And then all the different cheese stores, we tried many different cheeses and your bakeries. Oh, phenomenal.
So you had a good time. What can you say?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It was amazing.
Anything you wouldn't do again? Any kind of gotchas that you'd warn people about?
No, I really, there's nothing that I wouldn't do again. I wouldn't be, if anybody is ever afraid of, because they don't speak the language, don't be intimidated by it. Just be polite and gracious. That goes a long way. Try to pick up some phrases before you go, you know, so they see that you're trying. Yeah. I definitely, France has left a mark on my heart.
Oh, that's so good to know. That's
I loved it. It was beautiful.
That's great. That's great.
In your podcast, that I learned so much in a short amount of time. I mean, I started listening in 2019, but I tried to listen to one or two a week just to kind of, get myself familiar. Yeah, get ready. Yeah. I call it studying.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm sure that you have given lots of people some food for thought on how they might be able to stay a little longer. Because it's true that a long trip, when you're, spending a lot on hotels and meals and stuff, that's kind of intimidating. It's a lot of money. But if you could make your money stretch a little longer, were any other hostels awful and you wouldn't go again?
Well, this has nothing to do with the France podcast for France, but our last one in Munich, I would not go there.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
But all of them that we stayed at in France were amazing. Huh. They were exactly what we needed. Just good location, clean, and safe.
Yeah,
that was
safe, comfortable.
big thing.
Well, and if you were able to have a private room and a private bathroom everywhere, there's not that much difference between a hostel and a hotel at that point.
Right.
It's probably the decor, there's no flowers in the lobby, probably.
Right. Yeah. It's it's kind of, you think of it as kind of like a teenager's room, kind of is how it's kind of decorated. But, very basic, nothing too crazy. But being able to, just sit in the lobby, or it's more of a kitchenette kind of, and meeting people, that's what we like about hostels, and
right. And there's
versus.
So may I ask your age range, more or less?
46.
Okay.
Yep.
So
my husband is 48.
Okay. So were there plenty of people your age in those hostels, or was it mostly younger people?
There was a mix. There were some that were a little older than us, and some that were younger than us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So it was a good mix. I think that a majority of them maybe are a little younger, but that's all right. We're young at heart.
That's right. Well, lots of French people go to hostels at every age, because when they do group, like choir trips and things like that, there's often choir members who don't want to spend very much per night. And so for the whole group to be able to go, they just book a hostel or several rooms in a hostel and whatever. And so you'll find French people of all walks of life staying at hostels occasionally, because there's a group trip or a family trip or something, and they just want to keep it not too expensive for everyone. And why not? Why not?
Right, exactly. You're barely, for us at least, we're barely in our rooms, so we just sleep there, and, we're out and about the rest of the time.
Yeah, and then if you have a kitchen, then you're going to socialize with the other people, so that's also good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's very nice. It kind of adds to the trip. It really does.
Definitely.
So, and one thing I got to mention about the self-cleaning restrooms in Paris, that was pretty interesting. We got a kick out of them. One of our traveler friends that we met, he got stuck in one.
Oh, okay. That's not good. That's not supposed to happen, because you're supposed to be able to pull the thing and it opens. Anyway, tell. What happened to this guy?
He couldn't,
He couldn't figure it out.
He couldn't figure it out. So, but they're pretty nice. Some of them are in better shape than others, but we got a kick out of them.
I was in one in Toulouse on Saturday. That was just nasty. The worst I've ever seen. So, if they stop the self-cleaning for some reason, if that breaks, if it's not happening correctly, then no, you don't want to be in there. So,
right.
But I really, really had to pee, so I went in anyway. But
yeah. Sometimes you just gotta.
But most of them are much nicer than that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be painting my nails in there, all right? But
no, you don't want to just hang out in there. No. Get your business done and leave.
No, but you do your thing and you go and you let it do the self-cleaning cycle before the next person goes in. Otherwise, because that's the mistake most people make. They don't let the door close to get the cleaning cycle.
Right.
And so they go in right after the person, and no, don't do that.
Yeah. It's not good. Yeah.
Don't do that.
The other thing we ran across too, some in Nice, we were walking and we have our little water bottles all over. We found these water stations that one side was seltzer or sparkling. Ooh. The other side was just still. Oh, it was so like the coldest water. Oh, it was so good because it was really warm in Nice. So. We found a couple of them in Nice, so that was something.
Free seltzer water on the street?
Yeah.
Wow.
Over by, we found 2 of them. Huh. It was really neat. So,
excellent.
Little gadgets like that just make our day.
All right, Heidi, it has been a delight to talk to you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and telling us about your adventures in France. It sounds like you had a blast, and I hope you get to come back at some point.
Yes, thank you for having me, Annie.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Au revoir.
Bye-bye.
Again, I want to thank my patrons for supporting the show and giving back. Patrons get several exclusive rewards for doing so. You can see them at patreon.com/join us. Thank you all for supporting the show. Some of you have been doing it for a long time. I love you. And a shout out this week to new patrons, Josh Taylor, Diane Coulter, Lisa Arvold, and Nadine. Thank you so much for becoming patrons and making this podcast possible. And thank you also, Marilyn Harding, for upgrading your pledge to yearly. This week, I will share my Thanksgiving tips with patrons because no matter how often Thanksgiving comes around, we always need a little bit of reassurance that we can pull it off because it's a big day and it's a lot of cooking. So we'll be talking cooking for Thanksgiving with my patrons. My thanks also to Susan Spoto and Philip Bean for sending in a one-time donation by using the green button on any page on joinusinfrance.com that says tip your guide. Susan wrote, "Dear Annie, thank you for the wonderful and addictive podcasts about France. Merci." Well, merci to you, Susan. French expression of the week, un nom à coucher dehors. Have you heard that one? Well, it's been in the news recently, and I'll tell you why. It means a difficult name, a strange sounding name, a foreign sounding name. You know, when I asked my husband how he would say un nom à coucher dehors in English, he said, a name from hell? Maybe it's not quite that strong, but it's a difficult name. This has come up to the forefront because we have a populist wannabe candidate for president who loves a good boogeyman. He doesn't care for foreigners or their names. He says that some names make it impossible to belong in France. And of course, this attitude is medieval, and I don't mean medieval in a good way. In France, in the Middle Ages, when the country was segmented into a succession of neighborhoods and villages where everyone knew everyone, you could not enter an area if you did not have the right name. And by that, they meant a good Christian sounding name. Or a good Jewish sounding name, depending on the neighborhood. So, depending on the name, you may have to sleep outside. So you had un nom à coucher dehors, which literally means a name that leads you to sleep outside. When I got naturalized as an American citizen, they asked me what I wanted to be my name. They said this was my chance to change it. No questions asked, no fees, no nothing. I didn't change anything, but anybody who does genealogy knows that names evolve because very often immigrants want a name that helps them belong. Are we ready in France to allow people to belong even if they have a Polish name or a Chinese name or an Algerian name or, heaven forbid, an American name? I hope so. No name should force you to sleep outside, but now you know that there's an expression in French for that. It used to be a problem, and populists still want to make it a big deal, but there are no noms à coucher dehors in my book. COVID-19 numbers are going up in France as in the rest of Europe, but this time we're not doing so badly because 90% of French people are vaccinated. This is 90% of the eligible population. I am not including kids under 12 because they cannot get vaccinated in France yet and probably won't be until sometime next year. Every day in France, around 20,000 people get their first dose. You might think that 20,000 is nothing, but if these people are getting their first dose today, it means that they were really fearful of this vaccine. They are getting convinced, and that's something to celebrate. Who knows? We might get to 95% vaccinated by the end of the year, which is what I have been hoping for since January and talking about since January when the vaccination campaign started in France. Hundreds of thousands are getting their third dose in France every day, including me this week. It was so easy. The site Doctolib, which is an excellent site when you need to find a doctor in France, was only showing availability in an area where I know parking is difficult and I didn't want to go there. So I switched to Vite Ma Dose, another website, and boom, a pharmacy in a small village 6 kilometers away from my house showed availability. I called the pharmacy. They said, no appointment necessary, just come. So I did. And 2 hours later, I was there. Well, I walked my dog first because I have my priorities. I was in and out in 5 minutes. They asked for my carte vitale to make sure my last shot was at least 6 months ago. They did not care that I'm not 65. The young pharmacist gave me a shot and was all smiles. We are so lucky to have such a great healthcare system in France. I don't take it for granted. We are privileged to have plenty of vaccine and plenty of everything else, actually, to tell you the truth. And it didn't even hurt. I mean, I was a little bit sore. My arm is still a tiny bit sore, but this is nothing. By contrast, Austria has announced a general lockdown starting on Monday and mandatory vaccination starting in February. Germany will probably reconfine everyone again. So we've played our cards well in France by comparison. About the pass sanitaire, Donna asked, and several other people have asked also, this is a common question. I am a vaccinated U.S. citizen with a pass showing my 2 doses. Any idea how I would get the 3rd shot added to the pass if I already have a pass? I received the pass prior to getting the 3rd shot. Okay, first thing, if you're not over 65, the 3rd dose is not required in France at this time. It might get required in the future, but, I don't know for sure. So if you're not over 65, you don't have to worry about updating your pass right now. I mean, what matters is that you got the 3rd dose, you're safe, that's what matters. The second thing is all requests for pass sanitaire from people who weren't vaccinated in France go through pharmacies now. There are about 1,500 pharmacies in France where you can do this, including 755 in Paris. The number keeps changing. I checked it this morning, it was 755. But there are a lot of pharmacies that do this all over France. The link where you can see all of them is in the show notes. It's a map. You just have to zoom down into the map and you'll see something near you. And I also shared that link in the latest newsletter. There is a fee of 36 euros and voila, you're done. About the new method for getting the pass sanitaire, Sandy Fabry wrote, getting our pass sanitaire yesterday was so easy. At CDG yesterday morning at 9, there must have been 100 people in line at the pharmacy on the departure level. We moved on and went to the Hotel Excelsior Latin, which was my tip, to drop their bags. The reception directed them to Pharmacie Soufflot, about half a block away. It took the pharmacist about 15 minutes to prepare our passes, which is why there is a fee. He was very friendly and gave us more information on the process. Our next 2 stops, lunch at Balagan and the Orangerie, required the pass. It is a more effective process than the online version was. And France makes a few euros. Yes, I agree that this is a better system because a ton of people were applying and then were not hearing back and then were emailing constantly, bitching about not having heard back. These people were getting overwhelmed. And the more you put pressure on people to get something done before they travel, the more they're going to be unpleasant about this. So this is way better. You show up in France, you go to a pharmacy and deal with a real person in front of you. One more email. Annie wrote, Annie, I hope you're doing well. We had a great time in France. They're heading to Belgium now. We didn't have a chance to get the health pass at the airport because their driver from the hotel was waiting for them. Luckily, we found a nice pharmacy near our hotel and we got it for 35 euros each. Oh, this guy is cheaper. It's 35 instead of 36. Very easy. I have attached a picture. They were very helpful. They helped us put the app on our phone, and we have been using the French Health Pass in Belgium as well. Yes, the French Health Pass is European-wide, so not in England for obvious reasons, but for the rest of Europe, it's good. Sandy wrote, you might be interested to know that yesterday both my daughter and I received approval for our pass sanitaire online that we applied for 5 weeks ago. So now we have 2 each. We are using them all the time. Yesterday on the TGV to Reims, we were checked in Paris, but not returning from Reims. Not every restaurant and train and airline that should ask for the pass sanitaire does it. I saw that really well last week in Paris. You might think that that's awful, but when 90% of the population is vaccinated, it doesn't matter that much. Enough places ask for it that people have actually gotten vaccinated, and that's what matters. Like I've been saying all along, the point was never to turn France into a police state. The point is to stop arguing with people who will not ever understand the science because they don't want to. The right way to deal with these people is to twist their arm slowly until they give up and get vaccinated. There are people in the world, in France, everywhere else, that will never accept the science. They don't want to listen to reason. They are afraid of needles. They are anti-Macron. They claim vaccines goes against their religion, etc. Whatever their reason is, I really don't care. They need to get vaccinated because that's the way out of a pandemic. Macron has opted for a slow squeeze, and it is working. And no, we will not force the unvaccinated to stay home in France like they are doing in Austria. French people can go about their lives and eventually they'll get either vaccinated or infected. Unfortunately, if they get infected, a small fraction of them will die. It's a small number, but it adds up. It's avoidable, but I don't know what to do. Anyway, the link to see where you can get your pass sanitaire in a pharmacy in France is going to be in the show notes. I was in Paris with my sister last week. Not just my sister, my husband and her boyfriend. And we had a great time. My sister is totally in love with Paris now. So this is a new thing. She went to Paris for the first time 2 months ago, where she went to visit Paris, not just for work or whatever. I had given her an itinerary and they did that. And, she loved it and she wanted to go back. And, she keeps saying she wants to move to Paris. So mark my word, she will move to Paris at some point. So this is what we did. We had 4 days, not full days even, but this is what we did. On Thursday, we went to the Île de la Cité. I gave them the live version of my tour because they don't speak English. And we went to La Samaritaine. It's a really nice department store. In the afternoon, we went to Les Invalides because her boyfriend is a big fan of Napoleon. Unlike most people, he really likes Napoleon. We ended the day at a tiny theater where they put on a funny play with 2 actors. It was in the 10th arrondissement. The play is called Ils se marièrent et eurent beaucoup d'emmerdes. Anyway, it was fun. And then we picked a random place for dinner after the show. It was quite good. We drank too much. Then the waitress waited until we were quite inebriated. And then she asked us to write reviews for the restaurant. And she actually helped us write the reviews because we weren't all there. We had a good laugh about that the next day. The Uber van driver was obviously familiar with our condition and was really professional. We were in no shape to take the metro. So hooray for Uber. And we did not drink at all after that, by the way. So we can be reasonable once in a while. We just let loose a bit too much that day. On Friday, we went to the Musée de la Préfecture de Police in the Latin Quarter. My friend Patricia and her sister joined us. Hello, Patricia and Cynthia. It's a really interesting museum. We saw a lot of things that I was really surprised by. For instance, old versions of the pass sanitaire from the Spanish flu days. Lots of good stuff. It's very geeky for people who love French history. I'll probably do an episode about it at some point. And then we had lunch at the bottom of Rue Mouffetard, a little cafe called Cave de la Bourgogne or something like that. It was fine. And then we headed back to the Île de la Cité to get on the bateau bus right by Notre Dame. I had never been on the bateau bus. I really enjoyed it. It's really too bad that they have such limited hours of operation. And that night we walked all the way to up Rue du Bac for shopping because, the shopaholics were with us. And then after that, we went to see the Eiffel Tower sparkle. My sister was learning how to use City Mapper. I showed her because she was frustrated with it. And I showed her how to use it. Now she's sold and she loves it. And really, don't give up on City Mapper. If it's a little bit hard at first, just try it some more. It's a really good app. Saturday, we had to split up because my sister and her boyfriend were picking up fancy custom glasses. They look nice, but, glasses. So they went shopping. David, Patricia, and I went to the Hôtel de la Marine. What a beautiful place. We'll have to do a full episode about it soon. It was really very, very nice. Then, in the afternoon, more shopping. We had to walk Boulevard Saint-Honoré because there was some shoe store that my sister just had to go. And it was really funny because she recognized all the brands. And unlike me, she could just say, oh, these people, they're so famous for this or that or that. And these are tiny stores that I had never heard of. I know they're big because they wouldn't have a shop on Boulevard Saint-Honoré otherwise, but it was really funny how much she knows about all these brands and how much she loves all these brands. Then at Patricia's suggestion, which was a very good suggestion, we had lunch at the small Rose Bakery inside of the Jeu de Paume. It wasn't very busy. It was very good. I took a quick look at the current photo expo at the Jeu de Paume. Didn't like it. I don't know. So, all this serious photography, I don't get it. The first photo I saw was a sports photo where nothing was in focus. I cannot understand how you can have what's the point? Anyway, I'm too unsophisticated for that sort of photography. Then we took a quick tour of the Louvre. We were there for 2 hours, but I think we did it right. We saw a lot in those 2 hours. The Napoleon III apartments, the Mona Lisa, Liberty leading the people, the Radeau de la Benduse. Patricia, who's been to the Louvre about 100 times, helped us navigate. I'm getting the hang of this, of how to do the Louvre in and out quick. It's really pretty easy once you get the lay of the land. And that night we went to another show called Coupable with Richard Anconina. This time it was a much nicer theater right by the Élysée Palace. It's in French, of course. An excellent play and performance. If you speak French, I recommend it. It was very different, very, very enjoyable. Sunday was our last day, and we started with a walk around the Marais. We got a late start, so I gave them a shortened version of my tour. We went to the Carnavalet Museum, where I went to the top floor with the French Revolution, and they kind of looked at everything a little bit. And then we had to go back to the hotel to pick up our bags and get to the airport. And usually I prefer to take the train between Toulouse and Paris. But if you try to buy train tickets 2 weeks before a long weekend or a school vacation, it's usually more expensive than EasyJet. So we flew instead. It's kind of too bad. All right, I gotta wrap this up. A quick reminder that the itinerary page is closed for now. I'll be happy to help you out, figure out the best itinerary for you after December 26th. Show notes for this episode are on joinusinfrance.com/364. That's the numeral. And next week on the podcast, an episode with Elise about Josephine Baker. She is entering the Pantheon. She's the first Black woman to rest in this beautiful Pantheon. We'll recap her life and achievements. She was stunning in every way. Send questions or feedback to Annie@joinusinfrance.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you join me next time so we can look around France together. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, everyone. Au revoir. The Join Us in France travel podcast is written, hosted, and produced by Annie Sargent and copyright 2021 by Addicted to France. It is released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license.